Voting is more than just a right, it's a powerful tool for change. Every vote counts and every voice matters. Voting protects your rights and helps to build a better future. And it's a way to hold our leaders accountable. Voting isn't just about the big elections either. Local elections impact our daily lives. It is important to study the candidates and the issues in order to make an informed decision. Election 2024. Don't sit it out. Your vote is your power. PR Connections Radio presents.
Well, I guess you can be very successful without one, and probably some people do. But I would not have accomplished anywhere near what I have accomplished without a mentor. I have had a number of mentors, and my whole life has changed dramatically. I went from going nowhere to having a business that operates all over the world. If you want to win in a big way, you want to get a mentor. It's almost like getting a direct pipeline from their mind to your mind, where you're gaining all their wisdom, all their experience, and all the studying that they've done over a number of years. And like that, you get it all in a short period of time. Are mentors important? Well, I'm going to tell you, mentors literally changed the course of my life. Let's take a look at what thinking into results is and what it could do for you, how it came about. You see, my life had changed dramatically. I went from earning nothing to earning over $1 million a year. And I was sitting one day and I was thinking, how did all this happen? Do you know, I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I was studying Earl Nightingale's material. But a lot of people have read those books and studied Earl's material. And they weren't accomplishing what I was accomplishing. So I had to ask myself, what am I doing so different? You see, I had been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. I was earning over $1 million a year, and I didn't think I was that bright. I was also raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't win. Well, I hadn't gone to school. I went to high school for about 2 months. I didn't have a good job. I owned the entire company. If you want to be happy, healthy, and prosperous, it's all here. Thinking into results is going to show you how to get it. If what I've said really triggered something in your mind and you're thinking maybe, contact the certified PGI consultant, hit the button, leave the information, do yourself a favor, sit down and talk to them about what this program can do for you. This very well could be the decision that will change the rest of your life.
Welcome, my friends. Sid Maestri here. I'm a certified consultant with Thinking into Results. And the program is Change Your Thinking, Change Your Results. Today, we're going to talk about the common denominator of success. And to make it real simple, the successful people have created the habit to do the things that unsuccessful people don't like to do. And why do they do that? Because they know what they want and they've developed the passion. They're emotionally involved in their goal. And they get up every day and they know what has to be done. I like to say that self-discipline, being able to give yourself an order and then carry it out. So today, common denominator of success, another way of putting what we want to talk about, to have something you've never had before, you're going to have to do something you've never done before. And that's where humans balk, having to do something they've never done before, because we're creatures of habit. And our subconscious is programmed to do things in a certain way. And we're going to have to shift out of that and do something new. And repetitively be doing it and knowing each day when you wake up, you're getting better and better and being more comfortable, creating the habit to help you get what you want. And I'm going to bring on today my guest, John Gage. John Gage is a trained voice actor, longtime friend of mine and student of Thinking and Results. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Sid. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to see you today because I know you've got some exciting stories to tell.
Got a couple, yeah. At least I've been told they're exciting.
So tell me of the challenge where you had to make some changes,
Well,
life changing changes.
there's a couple. Like you said, you have to do, in order to acquire something new, you have to do something you've never done before, or create or creative habit of doing what you don't want to do, because that's going to happen with anything new that you decide you want to do. You're going to find something that needs to be done that you don't want to do. And like with weight loss, let's start with that story, because we talked before. There was one point in my life I weighed 950 pounds. I'm actually down to 435 currently. That was my last weight a couple of days ago. And that's been a heck of a journey, because it started in 2004. And I had to go, okay, if I don't stop this, I'm going to die. What do I need to do? And I didn't know anything about it. I just knew that I was heavy. I knew it was my fault. I didn't even know why. Like Bob said, I don't know why I ended up this way. I do now, and I understand it now, and I understand it a lot better. And it was ultimately my fault. No matter how you do it, it's all the decisions we make. So I started out knowing that, okay, soda's bad, so I'm going to cut soda out of my life. So I stopped drinking soda. But I was still drinking milk. I was drinking coffee. I would drink those big flavored coffees, the iced coffees that you get. And I would still drink those, and they're like a ton of sugar. But I was drinking those and soda. So I stopped with soda. That was pretty difficult to do, because soda is actually very addicting. And after it took me several years to actually eliminate it, I don't drink it anymore. And if I do drink a soda, it's always sugar-free, and I'm really careful about that. If I drink a soda, it's usually once a month, and it's usually a sugar-free soda, and I drink one and I'm done. But it was a hard habit to break, and I did it, and I broke that habit slowly because I wasn't doing the right thing. But I would have to say the hardest habit I had to recreate, because when you're addicted to food, it's a lot different than being addicted to, say, cigarettes or alcohol, because a lot of those times, once you start breaking that habit, you can push it away and get it out of your life completely. Food we got to have. So I had to take this whole mindset of, what is food? Food was a comfort item for me. So if, like, sitting here, usually I'd be snacking on something and drinking soda. And so I was always putting something in my mouth and always eating, because it was comforting. And I had to change my mindset from comfort to fuel. And what is fuel? Fuel in a car, it just gets you from point A to B as efficiently as possible. That's what fuel is. So that was a hard mindset to do. And one of the bad fuels I would be putting, the tainted fuels I put into my system, was gummies. Oh my God. Oh, oh my gosh. Oh Lord. It wouldn't matter the size of bag I would buy. I could buy one of those little tiny bags for $1, or buy the big 5-pound bags. I would eat it all in one setting. It has taken me forever. And when I go to the store, if I go down the candy aisle, I have to force myself away, because I know it's bad for me, but I have to just force myself away from it. And I didn't really get a grasp on it until I started writing it down. Like, okay, so I put in my goals, I'm happy and thankful that I now weigh 275, have a 40-inch waist, 72-inch chest, 10% body fat. I walk a mile per day. I do a full body workout 3 days a week. I eat all natural, healthy foods, keeping my mind and body at a healthy peak performance. Guess what gummies aren't? An all natural, healthy food. So I had to start writing everything down I ate and limit my caloric intake just so that I could change that habit, because I wanted it so bad. I want to be at 275 so bad. It is so important to me. I think about it all day long. So writing it down was like the biggest and best choice I've made, because now if I do decide to have gummies, I send my wife and say, I need a bag this big. And it's as a reward for something. And I only eat a few of them, just enough to satisfy the craving. And I write it down. And if I write it down, I'm a lot more disciplined. And it's something, I tell you right now, that is something I didn't want to do. But as we've talked before, one of the most common denominators we've discovered with this is you have to write it down to change the habit, because there's a visual, an acknowledgement there, and an accountability. Would you agree?
Oh, yes.
Because I believe you told me about something you did once, and that's when we discovered that was a common denominator.
Yeah, my story, for me, it's an interesting story. But I was maybe 34, 35, and I had a bunch of guys I played ball with. We played basketball in the winter and softball in the summer. And we were sponsored by a pizza parlor, and that's where we'd go, Magoo's Pizza. And got in a conversation with somebody, and for whatever reason, I made a bet that I could run a 5:29 mile. Of course, I'd never done that before.
That was like 100 years ago, so that was actually pretty fast mile.
Yes. And a few years before, I'd focused on breaking 6 minutes, because I had a new friend that was in his 50s that ran marathons, and just to go out and run a couple miles with him, I had a very difficult time. So I worked on getting that under 6 minutes. So I did that, but I didn't write anything down, but I knew that's why I was focused. About 3 months, I was able to practice.
Really quick question.
Yes.
Did you find the 6 mile harder to do? Because I know you started writing the other one down. Did you find it harder to accomplish? And
to break 6?
Which one did you find the harder to accomplish?
I was a diamond in the rough. I didn't write anything down. I don't know how many times I was practicing, training for a couple of days or whatever I was doing, then running a mile to see where I was at. I don't remember that. I just know that the day that I did it, it was 5:49. And that was really great. Well, a week later, I go out to run, and at that same speed, I made the first lap, and I didn't get more than 20, 30 yards into the second lap, and I stopped because it's painful when you're running top speed. But I had my goal of 6 minutes, and I broke through every day when I was out running to push myself. So that had happened. Now, a couple of years later, had a few beers, I guess, and I bet my friend Jim I could do a 5:29 mile. And the bet was $20. So I took $20 and went and bought some racing flats with spikes, and went out to see what I could do. And 6:40, first mile, 6:40. And then I was doing some 4:40s, 3, 4, 5 of those on the second day. And the third day I'd run maybe 2 miles or something, more relaxed, and then do a mile again. So it took a 3-day cycle. And on the fourth time, I think it was the fourth or fifth time I broke 6 minutes, and after that I did 13 times in a row, 39 days every third day, a couple seconds each time. And I was writing it down. This is what John and I talked about earlier. When you're creating a new habit, if it's having it written down and checking it off, and knowing what you're going to do that day. And so I still have in my files the sheet where I was putting down how fast I was running. And the week before the competition, when I was supposed to do it, I ran 5:35. And I knew the last 220, half a lap, I could do that in 40 seconds. Because I've been doing that for a number of days, always the last quarter, not half mile, half to 220 yards. And when I had a watch with me, which is okay when you're an amateur, in the race that I was going to do it, with 220 yards to go, it was 4:49. 40 seconds is 5:29, and I knew I could do it. Gave it my best, and my friend had the watch for the race because I was in the race with some other people, and I could hear him saying in the last 20, 30 yards, he says, "I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it." And it was 5:29. So I had a plan. I wrote it out, and I've done some other athletic things since then. I won't go into details, but I did shoot 10,000 free throws, 100 free throws, 100 times over maybe a year and a half. I still have all that documentation. And I don't know if I started to do 100 times, but I knew I wanted to find how good I was. And just to brag, it was 94%. So back to you, John, because you've got another story to tell.
Right, but it falls along the same lines. I mean, but because once I started writing it down, which was the voice acting, I actually spent a long time thinking. Just a second, let me close this. My face looks funny. There we go. All that coming across my face. I was told for over 20 years that you've got a voice for radio, and you should be doing this. And I did commercials for. I do a lot of radio spots for the company I worked for 20 years. And I even did a couple of TV commercials and did some voiceover for that. I didn't realize what it was because it wasn't something I was interested in. And I started getting older and started going, okay, I need to find things to do that don't require as much physical labor because guess what? I am not invincible. I discovered this after about 50 years. I'm not invincible, even though it says I'm part of the Marvel Universe. I'm really not. But I had to start looking for other avenues for income streams. So, I'd gone through the horrible divorce, and I was actually talking to my current wife, and she talked about my voice. I said, yeah, I've been told that I've got a radio voice. She says, no, you do. You really need to do this. I said, are you sure? And that was that believing in somebody believing in you more than you believing in yourself initially. So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. What the heck? So there's a very legitimate company called Such a Voice that I contacted them, and Liz was familiar with them, and there was several other people started really considered doing this, and guess what? I started attracting people that did voice work. And Such a Voice, this particular company kept coming up. So I applied, and they only take 50 people a year. And this was at the end of the year. And they send you a short script that's like 30 seconds to read. It's really pretty simple. I didn't think so at the time. But now it's like, yeah, it was just a simple read. And I did this for her ad lib over the phone, told because it went to my spam folder. It didn't actually go into my folder for me to read. It went into my spam folder, and I'm like, hold on a second, let me check my spam. And it was there. I said, well, let me go ahead and read it. She says, okay, which one do you want to read? And I chose one. And I read it. She says, she says, do me a favor, practice that one tonight, X amount of times. I think it was 10 times. And I'll call you back tomorrow. I said, okay. She says, but I want you to do it in 3 different styles. I said, okay, please kind of give me an idea what you want. So we talked about that. I said, okay. So, and I wrote them down. So I practiced it, did it in those styles. And she says, yeah, we'll take you.
Cool.
And so I started my classes, paid the money up front. And that was so nerve. The first couple of weeks was like, because they were hour long, it was nerve wracking. I had homework to do for the first time, 55 or 56-year-old man. And you're like, homework? Fine. But that was probably one of the best things that happened to me, because now I'm recording my voice going, oh, wait, I don't like the way that sounds. Listening to it again, doing it again, listening to both of them. It's very similar to writing it down, because you have the written down script, and then you sit here and it's like, oh, okay, so I'm supposed to read this. I'm supposed to emphasize this vowel in this word, and it's supposed to be empathetic. Okay, that didn't sound empathetic. So maybe I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. And then I'll get words that I don't know. So I discovered websites that I can go to that give you the correct pronunciation of the word. So I would get the correct pronunciation of the word, do the word. So in the long run, so I started getting better and better. Then they had me take a couple extra acting classes, which I had to pay extra for, but that was okay, because I learned how to be a little bit more more of a method actor that way, kind of get into the role a little bit. It was actually kind of nice. And now that I've got through that, I have 8 demos professionally done that sound really good. I think I've shared those with you here just a while back. And I have had a lot of medical issues, and right now I've got some problems with my jaw. I'm going in for surgery next week, guys. So you'll see a repeat. Sorry. But once that's done, I'm really going to start pursuing this a lot more heavily. But one of the things I'm having to do is learn how to market. That is a terrifying feat for me. I have no clue how to market, especially digitally, because you get in here and you're like, okay, I've got to set up a brand for myself, and which I've actually done. Now, how do I market this brand? So I've got books that I'm listening to, taking notes for that. And while I'm down for this surgery, recovering, I'm going to start pursuing that marketing for the couple of weeks that I'm going to be down for that pretty heavily. And then I'm going to really start, because I can't do a lot of the exercises I need to do because my jaw just hurts too bad. And this is a result of a car accident, but it has to be resolved first. So then I'm going to start doing my exercises again. I'm going to start practicing again. I'm going to really pursue it. And initially, my plan is to start small, locally, doing a few local ads, maybe getting on the radio show and working slowly up till I'm making that $1 million a year. And it will happen.
I know it will.
You know why I know? Because I have a why. And I've written it down, and I will write down the progress.
You've got a plan.
Absolutely.
John, you reminded me of the experience I had in the weight release game. And I had a friend that was looking for some clients, and her program was called Life's Balance.
Okay.
And there's 3 of us that signed up, and it was a 6-week program, 42 days. And we had sort of like not a menu, but what we could eat.
Right.
Eating healthy, eating healthy, drinking half our weight in water, and to exercise 30 minutes a day, and write down everything we eat and drink, an activity, and then at 9 o'clock text what we did every day. And there was 3 of us, and at the end of the 42 days, I'd lost 16 pounds, and the other 2 people didn't lose any. And I said, "What happened to the other 2?" She says, they didn't do what they're supposed to do.
Well, and that's it. You created a habit. And see, that's why I write everything down. I write down my finances. I write down what I consume. I write down my thoughts, because I'm trying to make it a habit to do that, because that's the the real habit that helps me get through the stuff I don't want to do. But let's face it, I don't want to not eat gummies. I don't want to mark it. I don't like it. I mean, I've worked with it a little bit, and I just don't like it, but I have to do it. So
I understand. John, just to shift back for a second, I forgot there was something else with the life's balance. I could only weigh myself Monday morning and Thursday morning, only twice a week.
Yeah, and you had to weigh yourself at the same time.
Yeah, first thing in the morning, Monday morning, Thursday morning. And I was used to getting on the scale whenever I wanted to, but doing it like that twice a week, I was always, at least it was a digital, so you get the tenths and everything. So it was a pound plus every time I got on the scale. So it averaged out maybe around close to 3 pounds, 2.5 to 3 pounds a week.
Yeah,
So
but you're weighing at the same time, so it's consistent with how your body is acting. So that makes sense.
Getting back to let's kind of we got 3 minutes here,
Okay.
or say 2 minutes. We had some different quotes we were talking about.
Well, let's check my notes here real quick. I know we talked about a few notes.
I think it was the one about getting what you've never had before.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. In order to have something you never had before, you have to be willing to do things you have never done before. That's the one you talked about. Yeah.
And that's where knowing what you want. It's a goal. You've written it down.
Yeah.
You read it every day. I like to say in front of the mirror twice a day with emotion. Unless you bring passion and emotion into your goal, you're not going to stay with it. And the other thing that I just discovered, which I think that you'll like, you are loved when you are born. You will be loved when you die. In between, you have to manage it.
Right.
I just found this morning. There was about six things here, but I like that one. And then the next one was, if you want to walk fast, walk alone. If you want to walk far, walk together.
Right.
And then here's the last one. This was yours. Eat your food as your medicines. Otherwise, you'll have to eat your medicines as your food.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's a hard mindset to change.
Yeah.
Going from comfort to fuel is really huge.
Okay. John, I hate to interrupt. I see we're in our last minute. I will have to say goodbye. I want to thank you for being on the show. Look forward to next week. We'll do something interesting. And Thinking in the Results, you see it on the screen there, sidmaestri.thinking in results. You can go there and you can schedule time that we can chat, answer your questions. And thank you for being here. Namaste.
Namaste, my friend.
Voting is more than just a right, it's a powerful tool for change. Every vote counts and every voice matters. Voting protects your rights and helps to build a better future. And it's a way to hold our leaders accountable. Voting isn't just about the big elections either. Local elections impact our daily lives. It is important to study the candidates and the issues in order to make an informed decision. Election 2024. Don't sit it out. Your vote is your power. PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.